Why the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu may not come from Nigerian courts? Welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. Thank you for always having you here. If you're just joining us, please kindly subscribe to this channel and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Martin Luther King Jr. As the saying goes, your freedom is in your hands. You hold the key to your freedom and the freedom of your people. Don't betray it. This is a follow-up to, our last video on the same subject, namely the release of Nnamdi Kanu is the greatest challenge facing Ndigbo today in the entity called Nigeria. In the first place, it is not the court of the same Nigerian government that went to a foreign country, Kenya, and adopted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, extraordinarily renditioned him, forcefully brought him back to Nigeria, and has since June 2021 kept him in the torture cell of Nigerian Secret Police, DSS in Abuja, in solitary confinement, incommunicado, that is going to free him. Rather, Nnamdi Kanu is going to be freed, just as Biafra he is fighting for its self-determination, and independence is going to be a free, sovereign, and independent nation state on its own right only through the determined, collective, and concerted, concrete efforts of the Biafran people themselves. Nnamdi Kanu's kinsmen and women, Ndigbo in particular, to be precise. That is, as a nation on its own right, standing solidly firm and determined as a people behind Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the struggle, and behind whosoever has genuinely taken it upon himself to stand on the gap for him, especially now that the IPOB leader is in the dungeon of the enemy. Make no mistake about it. The struggle that Nnamdi Kanu has taken upon himself is not just for his Igbo or Biafran people alone. No, rather it is a struggle that has a wider implications for the imminent liberation of the entire different and deserved component, indigenous ethnic nationalities and peoples that the British forcefully merged together under a colonial fleet in 1914 and named Nigeria. This would also imply that what Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for is for the second independence of the different indigenous African peoples aggrieved ethnic nationalities from the colonial yoke and from the dominion ethnic nationalities and the modern day Africa political puppets that have been holding everyone in bondage. In the country, this is why every hand must be on deck for the immediate and unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Love or hate him, the solution to this political embargo besetting Nigeria since 1914, and especially since the country's flag independence in 1960, lies in the struggle. Nnamdi Kanu's travail is challenging us all with. Today, many people are beginning to realize, especially after the last shambolic and fraudulent 2023 elections, just like the previous so-called elections before it, that the problem with Nigeria is never going to be resolved through the very 4 years of elections that proceed nothing but anguish and more suffering for the masses. And that has always succeeded in recycling the same corrupt, self-serving, and blood-sucking politicians that are responsible for our woes in the country all these years. Nigerians' problems will never be resolved, will never solved, will never be solved through these very 4 years of shambolic political elections or change of personnel of the same criminal politicians. Through those fraudulent and shambolic blood-based, violent, ratings, elections in Nigeria. If truth be told, the solution to the problem with Nigeria lies in what Nnamdi Kanu is struggling for. That is on this very thing. He's calling on the gatekeepers of the Nigerian state to do, namely, to conduct a referendum for self-determination for those ethnic nationalities or major geopolitical regions in the country that want to separate, to form their own independent sovereign states. In this way, we all will begin to relate well as neighbors, neighboring nation states in, in what in West Africa sub-region under ECOWAS that will help to put an end, in fact, a stop to all these shenanigans of bloodbath and violence we call elections in Nigeria. It will also help to put a step on what, put a stop on what, or at least, please pardon me, minimize the current Islamic insurgents in northern Nigeria and the neighboring Share region countries of West Africa. Referendum for self-determination that Nnamdi Kanu is advocating for is the most viable solution to the problem we have at hand, both in Nigeria and throughout the ECOWAS, the nation states. This is the reason why we all must listen to the IPOB leader and get him released unconditionally and immediately from the dungeon of the Nigerian government. Nnamdi Kanu's struggle for self-determination is the key to nation states on these personal issues of political instability and insecurity in the region and our communities in Nigeria. The challenge before Nnamdi Kanu's Igbo Biafran people, the land or society of any serious-minded or determined people and nation will never know peace or rest as long as the warrior of that land or society is still languishing in the dungeon of their enemy, not until Nnamdi Kanu is set free. The entire Igbo land, and by extension, the entire Biafra, the defunct eastern region, as well as Nigeria in general, will continue to be in turmoil, as it is presently the case in the country and the region. By the way, no serious people or society will give to rest or sleep while their warrior leader of their freedom fighters movement incarcerated in the dungeon of their enemy. No serious people or nation will ever go to rest until that their incarcerated warrior and leader of their struggle for freedom is released, because the freedom of such a people or nation depends to a great extent and on the final analysis on the freedom of that their incarcerated warrior and leader. This is what Nnamdi Kanu is representing for Indigo today and for the people of the former Eastern region Biafra. The writer said. Francis Anikwe Bojo is a Roman Catholic priest. He's a professor of contextual uh, theology, okay, in the University of Rome. Okay, so he is the one saying this to Indigo. So guys, what's your take on this? He said, Igbo people will never know peace. Even Nigeria will never know peace until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. Nnamdi Kanu, according to him, is not just an ordinary person. Okay, so Nigerian government must release Nnamdi Kanu for peace. I'm dropping it here. Please kindly drop your comments below the comment section. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. And bye for